with UConn coming back, it definitely excites us here at Georgia. And I think you get to play against the best. You get to play in an atmosphere that's going to be like a Final Four situation. Your kid's not going to play in many sellout arenas or seeing fans of 12,000. It's giving all of us as coaches that opportunity, if we get there, what it's like in that atmosphere. So they're going to challenge you in many ways. They're going to challenge you on the court because, you know, how clean they are in their offenses and defenses and intensity. But they also going to challenge you in recruiting to also try to up the ante to make each and every one of our teams better. So I think it's a win-win for all of us.
The great thing they bring is the rise in our national profile. This league has incredible players and incredible coaches and still flies under the radar, in my opinion, on the national level with the media and attention and rankings and whatever else it may be, NCAA bids. So UConn brings instant notoriety with that and will expose our league to a lot more eyes, which will be a great thing, again, because of the level of coaching and the level of players in this league.
Keep it simple. I think between our coaches in our league and our players, we're all competitors, and, you know, great competitors want to play against the best each and every night. And Gino coming into our league as, you know, the top coach in the country, and then his players and his talent, it's only going to rise the level in the entire Big East. So we're looking forward to having that challenge throughout this season.
Yeah, I agree with everything that all of the previous coaches have said. And we were a strong conference without them. We were top 6 in the rankings across the country. Now you add UConn, and why can't we be the best conference in the nation? So we're excited to be the best. You got to play the best. So they just make all of us better, and they make us a deeper conference in the end.
I wanted to be in Madison Square Garden in person because I wanted to tell a story. I actually had a dream early in the pandemic, probably April. And we were in a preseason tournament in Cancun or Bahamas or somewhere. And we were supposed to play UConn in a non-con game. And we'd played our first game, and I didn't know when our second game was. I knew we were playing UConn, but I didn't know what day, where it was. And I'm wandering around the island, and I run into Gino and Chris Daly. And Gino was like 6'4", and he was built like a linebacker. And long story short, I was too chicken to ask him when we were supposed to play each other. And I couldn't find any of my assistants because they were off doing island things. And so anyway, that was my kind of nightmare about UConn.
I mean, you're talking to someone who's spent from the age of 22 on now to 41 in this league. So it's been always a pleasure to be a part of it and to be able to be a young coach growing up in it. There was nothing better to be able to learn from and watch some of the best coaches that have ever done it, Hall of Famers. And now being able to be a part of our new look and then adding UConn back, I think we've only strengthened what was already, I think, a strong and underrated conference in the country. So to me, and I think to a lot of our coaches in the league, we're really excited about the opportunity and what our future holds. And I think everyone's going to see that as we start the year.
And before Connecticut got here, John, the one thing that I think separates the Big East from a lot of conferences is we have all veteran coaches who've coached a long time, that are very talented. And now I've added some new, younger, talented head coaches in Mel and Megan. It's a really hard league. It's you're not gonna find 11 better coaches in the country. Even at the Power 5 schools, they've hired a lot of inexperienced coaches to take those jobs, and you could see why they're not as successful as our league is. Our coaching are tremendous. Obviously, adding Connecticut with their tremendous staff is not going to make things any easier.
I really believe that, and I've said this often, and maybe I'm repeating myself too often, but I believe UConn is the best program in the history of all college basketball. And I'm old enough to have watched very closely the Coach Wooden teams of the 60s and 70s. So that said, this is the absolute best program, and it's absolutely going to lift us. And at the same time, I still think you can't, I still think you have to play a tough schedule. To get specific to your question, I still think you have to play a tough non-conference schedule, even knowing that you're going to come up against a really, really difficult opponent in the Big East with UConn. And again, Joe is part of this. Tony, you weren't with the old Big East, but Joe was. And in the old Big East, you had not only UConn, but you had 4 and 5 and 6 ranked teams in January and February. And Jim Crowley said it earlier, this Big East since realignment has been as tough as the old Big East. It just it hasn't gotten the recognition. So you got UConn. I still think you got to play great people non-conference. But I'm sitting here looking at Tony here with his arms behind his back, and I'm thinking, but for a possession or two, they're in the championship game last year, not us, and they've been very, very difficult to play against, as has been Joe St. John's team and every team in this league. So it's a great league. UConn is going to make it much better. And at the same time, I think non-conference, we can't just soften it up now because we're counting the two games that we're going to be playing against UConn. So now decrease the non-conference schedule. I think the non-conference has still got to be really, really difficult.